Congratulations, well done. So, can anybody help me explain what I've just done? Apart from being a bit stupid with money. Okay, so in AIA and in the life insurance industry, we are in the business of savings and protection. So, what I've done in a very quick time is that, what's your name, sir? Tony. Tony has invested $20, and in a very quick time he's actually managed to grow his investment to $100. Now, all our investments don't happen that quickly, by the way. Okay. But you know, that's part of wealth accumulation. Now, had he bought an insurance policy and he'd walked across to there and somebody banged him on the head, right? Then the beneficiaries would have received the $100. Okay, so one element is savings, one element is protection. So again, congratulations on your accumulation. So the other thing I wanted whilst you're in AIA Central is something very unique happened for our organisation this week. AIA became the largest constituent stock on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. And you know, we were a part of American International Group, AIG. You will have seen some materials on the counter there. And in 2010, we listed as on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange as an independent organisation. So we are very proud that we are a Hong Kong company. The roots of our organisation, AIA was formed in Shanghai in 1919. So China is really our home. We're very proud about being headquartered in Hong Kong. We're very proud to say about becoming the largest constituent stock on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. We're also very proud of the fact that we are, from a market capital perspective, the largest life insurance company in the world. And that's something that not just people in AIA should be proud of, but people in Hong Kong should be proud of, that it's a Hong Kong company that's the largest in the world.
Market cap is something like 112 billion?
Yeah, 112 billion US. Yeah, something like that. We've been on a good run in the stock market, so it might be bigger for it. You know? But today I really wanted to talk about people. And I saw the names of everybody that was coming, and the different disciplines that you are studying, and the different universities that you are attending. And it was quite an eclectic mix. And many of you will go into the corporate world. Many of you will become entrepreneurs. And I hope that some of my sharing this evening will kind of give you an insight around your own character in the workplace and people in the workplace. So we have a philosophy within the organization, which is do the right thing in the right way with the right people, and the results will come. Now, that's easily said, right? So, you know, one of the things in the corporate world is how do you measure that? And there are two aspects to that. One is the what, and the what is typically associated to key measurement metrics, right? Key performance indicators. You know, such as, you know, if you are sales attached to maybe the gross sales that you achieve in 12 months. So that's the what. We put equal weighting on the how. And the how element is the behavior that you adopt and demonstrate in the workplace. me, that's extremely important, because you can be the smartest person in the room, but if you exhibit the wrong behavior, you will not be successful in modern institutions going forward. So your emphasis and your reflection points about EQ in weighting to your IQ is extremely important. We and we kind of are very kind of disciplined, and I've got some colleagues here this afternoon that will kind of agree to that. We have what we call a performance development dialogue, and it's a regular dialogue with our colleagues and our employees, and we really look at the how part, and we ask people, to actually document how they will go about their business, how they will interact with not just their supervisor, but their peer group, with their downline, and how they will collaborate with our customers as well. So those behavioral aspects are extremely important in modern institutions. Now, many of you will have high aspirations. Many of you will want to be a CEO of a company. And I think I'm right statistically, that there was some measurement in the United States that statistically you had a higher probability of becoming a professional basketball player in the NBA than you did a CEO of a listed company. Okay? You know how hard it is to be an NBA player, right? You've got to be 7'5" and kind of. So it's not easy to get into those positions, and you may think that, okay, if I work really hard and I apply myself and I'm focused, then the role of a CEO will follow. It's not true. Okay, there are many elements that will navigate your pathway through your career. And again, it's not just about the result that you have driven, it's about how you've conducted yourself along that journey. Now, what I have found through my experience, there are a couple of elements that are important. One is you have to be extremely resilient. You have to take the hard news, the hard situations, in a very balanced way. If you get overly emotional about a bad situation, okay, you're not thinking clearly. You need to really kind of stay calm and in control of the thought process. You need to be able to take a risk with your career. And I have this conversation many times with my colleagues, and we have a number of leadership and development programs within AIA, where we talk about careers. And interestingly, in Hong Kong, the quality of people that we have within AIA, for example, the bench strength is very deep. We're very lucky. We've got really talented individuals. But AIA Hong Kong is part of the AIA group, which operates in over 17 countries. So there are many career opportunities within our organisation. But what we found is that there's a little bit of reluctance within our staff in Hong Kong to embrace mobility, to take a risk, because people are scared of failing. And you should realize that in the majority, if not all, institutions, if you are given an opportunity to move, to go to another department or another country, you should try that opportunity, because the organization is not offering you the opportunity so that you fail. They're offering you the opportunity so that you can be a success. You may not be ready. And it's often the case when you are presented with an opportunity in your career profession that you're not ready. You'll only be ready until you sit in the seat and you're confronted with the issues that arise. All the training, all the counseling you get before that, it helps, but it won't fully prepare you. That's going to be down to you as the individual. So when I joined, as was AIG, in 1994, I was working for a Swiss company in the UK. And I always had aspirations to work overseas. But I worked for a German-speaking multinational. And I didn't speak German, apart from a few words. When I was offered the opportunity to join AIG, the guy I was replacing was actually moving to a role in New York, and I wanted to have that opportunity to work in the US. And at the time, in 1994, AIG was the largest insurance company in the world. So it was a great opportunity for me. But I had to be patient as well. I had to demonstrate for 4 years in the UK my ability to deliver sustainable results. And then I was offered a chance. And I was offered the option to come to Hong Kong or go to Russia. And this was 1997. And I made a very kind of calculated career decision. I don't like cold weather, so Russia was out. But I'd never been to Hong Kong. I knew nobody in Hong Kong, so really, I believed in myself, and I was fortunate to be given an opportunity to come to Hong Kong and visit the city for a couple of days and see some colleagues and understand the organisation. And I decided, literally within 2 days to take the move. But when I talk about risk, okay, I knew one person in Hong Kong. I was single at the time, so I didn't have to worry about a spouse, so I didn't have to worry about children. But I knew one person, and AIA in the beginning of 1998 didn't have many Gweilo. Okay, and so it was a very different environment for me. But the one thing I loved about Hong Kong, and I think what stands the workforce and the people in Hong Kong apart from a lot of places that I've seen in the world, is such a strong work ethic and such an entrepreneurial spirit. I was instantly drawn to it, and I'm an early bird. I'm normally in the office by 7:45, so I'd always get in early. But my new colleagues used to come in at 9 o'clock, some 9:30. And coming from a Western environment as well, if it wasn't a business lunch, we would work through lunch. Okay? That doesn't happen in Hong Kong. People like to have lunch together, right? So I had to adjust, and adjusting to working until 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the evening as well. So these were long days. But I just loved the work ethic. I loved the fact that we had a sense of purpose. We were trying to grow the business. So it was a great, enjoyable time for me. The point I'm trying to make is that whenever you go into new work environments, you have to adapt. Okay? And I'm not saying adapt to working 15, 16 hours a day, right? That's not the solution. But you have to adapt to that new environment, okay? And be able to demonstrate your capabilities. Unfortunately for me, I'm not blessed with the ability to pick up languages very easily. So as Gloria will testify, my Cantonese and Mandarin, whilst I think is okay, nobody understands it. But I've tried. Okay, and again, it's a way of kind of demonstrating that we try. So those are like little vignettes, kind of. But in terms of you and the corporate world, we talked about the individual and the measurement of the what and the how. Many of you, quite quickly, will go into leadership positions. And that's when you go from being a subject matter expert to a leader. And that transition isn't always easy, okay? Because you are then having to deal with a number of different personalities and a number of different characters. Okay? So you're not just thinking about yourself, you're thinking about the development and the performance of the individual that are underneath you. And there are, really, one of the ingredients for you going forward as you build your own teams, as you build the people underneath you, is always remember that careers in leadership are not just built by yourself, they're built by the people around you. Now, I often say, to our people in the organisation, is that, develop, retain, and hire the best talent you can find. Because that's the way that you will progress your career within the organisation. We often, refer to it as like succession planning, right? So that if you've got the right talent underneath you, which is delivering the results or exceeding results, you then have to develop a person underneath you to succeed you. Okay, and some people struggle with that. Some people struggle with the concept of, I'm the leader, and I need to have a gap between me and the people underneath me. Otherwise, I feel threatened. I feel that what if this person outperforms me and I kind of lose my role, or my boss doesn't believe in me? It's actually not true. We look at people, and if they develop the right teams, they develop the right succession planning in their team, then that's demonstrating leadership. That's demonstrating confidence. Those are the individuals that we want to elevate within the organisation, because we see them as the ability to be able to lead bigger teams. So, if you take anything away from this conversation this evening, I would say to you, just remember that when you come into the workplace, it's all about people. It's all about, for you as a leader, to assemble the right team underneath you. To make sure you have the right balance between IQ and EQ. To make sure the chemistry within those people is right. And it's okay having strong people underneath you, strong people with opinions. That's fine, okay? But they need to understand that they need to be constructive in those opinions. They need to demonstrate the how, the behaviour within the workplace. I think, Philip, I'd like to take some questions if that's okay with you.
Absolutely great.
How am I doing?
You're doing great.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
doing great, yeah.
So those are some little insights. I hope it's helped. But I would be delighted if you want to ask me some questions that you think would be relevant for you.
John?
So you talk like give some insight about the value of adaptability and the value of the willingness to work in different working environments. So is traveling better than work for at a point of the university student life? This is what I'm trying to prove. I read some research papers about this, and I didn't end up with a clear result.
My answer? Yes. I'll be a bit cheeky. Look, I think traveling and experiencing different countries and different countries is absolutely invaluable. Now, for me, the guy that arrived in Hong Kong at the beginning of 1998 is very different to the person I am now. Now obviously, in 1998 I had some hair and I was thinner, and obviously there was a maturing process. But I've had the chance to live and work in Brunei. I lived and worked in Indonesia. I lived and worked in Australia. I've lived 3 times in Hong Kong, and Hong Kong's become my home. But these are all different cultures to how I grew up in the United Kingdom. So it made a big difference to me. And when I talk to my kids, and they've been the beneficiary of being born here and then following me as we go around, is that travel, right, and meeting and spending time with people in different cultures and different countries makes you a more rounded individual, makes you more sensitive, makes you more understanding. These are, for me, essential elements. Internships in companies are good, right? And it does help on your resume, right? But I do think travel, and if you can do it at an early age, is hugely beneficial.
How do you deal with failure or frustration when something doesn't go the way you want it?
Stamp my feet and cry. No. Look, and it's a bit of a cliche to say that you need some failure because it actually helps you grow. It helps you understand. If you're just on a constant success all the time, I don't think it makes you resilient. You do have to find a way to manage it. The last thing you should ever do when you had a tough time, you're a little bit stressed, is to take it home. Just never do that, right? Because the last thing you want is to have that reflection point on the ones that you love most, right? Your partner, your spouse, your children. You need to find a way to kind of release some of that energy. Now, Philip is a very accomplished tennis player, right? That's one way that, no doubt, that he enjoys it, but also as well, he kind of gets rid of that any tension. I love sports, and I played football for many years, and I love that team camaraderie, and it's a great way to kind of get rid of any kind of tension or energy. You need to find a way to do it. Right? I'm not saying sports is the solution, a healthy solution, but you need to find something that you have a passion for in life, okay, that can help you kind of relax and clear your mind.
Hi, so can I answer?
Yeah, sure.
So you've mentioned about the leadership, and that it's okay if there are people that are strong under you. So my question is, how do you stay a leader if there are people with stronger leadership skills, and how do you stay competitive?
Competition with other leaders.
I mean, if there are people who has greater leadership skills than you, how do you still be a leader with these people?
Oh, right. Okay, excellent question. So for me is as a leader, you need to be confident, right? You need to be confident in your own ability. You also need to be humble as well. Now, for me, I've always considered if I can surround myself with the best talent, within that team there may be somebody who's actually better than me, right? If not, at least there'll be a subject matter that they're stronger than me at, and that's okay, right? Because you're building a strong team. Our prior group CEO, Mark Tucker, who Philip knows, had a great saying that when you go into the workplace, you have a choice. You have your personal agenda and you have the business agenda. It's those that focus on the business agenda that are the ones that succeed. And I think that's really kind of wise words from somebody who is now the chairman of HSBC.
Can you take one more question? I think that's in the interest of time. Quick one.
First of all, I would like to say thank you for spending your time tonight, and I thank you for your speech. I think it was absolutely inspiring and it resonated a lot with me. My father, who is my role model, always told me, life does not give you what you want, but what you deserve. And I think it is abundantly clear that you deserve everything you get. So my question for you tonight is, who is your role model? What inspired you, or who has inspired you? Thank you.
I mean, first of all, thank you for the kind words. That's very nice of you. I've been very, very fortunate that I've worked with a number of outstanding individuals who have been very generous to me in their time, whilst I've been very inquisitive, and there's a number of them. But probably, it's fitting that, given that I'm in AA Central and it's our centenary year as well, that our group chairman, Edmund Z, who's been with the organisation over 50 years, ever since I arrived in Hong Kong, he has been tough on me because he probably saw something in me that I didn't see. But he's also been very generous in his time and his guidance. I think your dad's words were very wise. As you go through your careers, you will come across outstanding individuals, and hopefully they will be generous with their time to you.
I think a lot of questions to be asked, and I don't think we have the time to answer.
I can take one more if you want.
You want to do one more?
Yeah, I'll do
Sure.
one. Yeah, sure.
One speech to go in Aberdeen or something like that.
Yeah, I'll do one more.
Do one more. Okay, all
They'll
right.
wait for me.
Oh, who's going to be it?
Okay, so Matthew, right?
Martin.
Martin, sorry, an M. I knew it was an M. I know you're a medical student as well.
Yes, but in spite of that, my dream is actually to be a fund manager. I've tried studying with actuarial exams. I think they're difficult to schedule, by the way.
Yeah.
I've also engaged in the sales of insurance in another company. That was the past. So my question is, how would you role of salespersons, intermediaries, or bank people in bank insurances to be in the financial industry or in the insurance industry in the future? Do you think they will shrink, or do you think they will flourish, or do you think salespeople will continue to do the work?
So I don't think I'm qualified to talk about banking. I can talk about life insurance, and this may take a few minutes. Sorry. It's very easy to think that you look to the future that everything will be digitized, right? That if you want to buy insurance, then you'll just get a smartphone and you'll transact. It doesn't work that way, right? I've never met anybody who woke up in the morning and said, I've got to go and buy a 20-year endowment policy because I've got to think about my kid, or I've got to think about my protection, or it just doesn't happen, right? So what we do think in the future is that there will be certain commoditized types of insurance that most people will go towards in terms of making a digital acquisition. And a lot of them are general insurance, right? So they're kind of auto insurance and house contents insurance, and there'll be elements of life insurance that they do, like simplified, maybe critical illness or term insurance. But when it comes to long-term products, long-term insurance products, where somebody has to make a commitment for 20 years, 25, 30 years, that's sold. That's not bought.
Another big name for Peter. Obviously, it's a beautiful talk and very inspirational, uplifting, spiritually uplifting. I have 1 minute to wrap up. Okay, is that okay, Peter? Yeah. Keep going. All right, so a lot of goodies in that 30, 40 minutes basket, okay? But if you want to take something to go home with you, to take away, I remember at the very beginning, people were saying that people, right? SP, what's SP? Savings and protection. So AI is in the people business, saving, protection. And then midway through, he was talking about you want to become a CEO, you're humble, you build your own team, and advance your agenda? No, advance the company's agenda. You put your own agenda in the back burner, right? So these are very important points to take away from. At the end, and he talked about, it's kind of counterintuitive. GPA is not important. Your IQ is. No, your EQ is, right? Did I get your attention? EQ, not IQ. I mean, I always tell my students, your EQ is most important. IQ, okay, if you have that, fine, congratulations, but EQ is the most important. And you want to become a CEO, lastly, get to the office before 8 o'clock. Eat lunch in the office. And finally, you want to join the Premier Academy after the tea reception, come and talk to me. Thank you so much, Peter.